in the community. There's a lot of crime happening lately in the police don't do really much about it, like theft, petty theft. And that if the police don't take it into their hands, the community is going to take it into our hands. And it has been known before. The mayor of Espanola doesn't even respond back to emails or anything. The police need to do their job the right way, and we need more police out there in the community. There needs to be more police and Chimayo. There needs to be more police out in Espanola. There needs to be police more present. There's been a lot of crime happening lately, and it takes the cops 15 minutes to get to the call. We need more policing in the community. And we need somewhere for homeless people to go and actually take and have warm food and take a nice shower. My name is James Martinez. I'm a high school student at Espanola Valley, and I've been giving back to my community for over 4 years of helping homeless people and people that are addicted to drugs and helping them to know to switch their life or back around so they can have a better life. If I don't see the mayor helping, or the police or anybody in the community helping, everybody from the community. Citizens are the ones that are helping these homeless people find places to stay and give him food and all that stuff. We need something to do about the homeless people and the mayor of Espanola. If you read this email, you need to turn the Santa Clara apartments into a homeless shelter. That would be the best thing for the community. Thank you. And the second one, sorry, is from Cynthia Lentini. Days like today when I feel positively wretched is when I wish the governing party would take into consideration the citizenry of the city of Espanola, who made the decision that public comments can be made in person. I would have assumed that the pandemic and all we learned to accomplish remotely would have given the city of Espanola necessary skill set and life experience to learn to use Zoom and how to mute, unmute. I sent those very instructions to the city clerk after being told that there was no way to control public comments electronically. This is a falsehood. While legally you don't have to allow the citizens to comment via Zoom, I am asking you to consider not just legalities, but little things like ethics and morality. I have received no response to comments I submitted via email in November regarding the 30 years old sanitation ordinance, another deliberate falsehood to state that there are no changes in the new version being voted on tonight. The United States of America has specific laws against monopolies and the abuse of such enormous power. The city of Espanola is not equipped to empty poly carts in their entirety. Further, it is unethical and robs staff of their very dignity to be reaching into bins by hand, selecting what trash to take and loading it, in some cases in a pickup. If you don't care about the residents of the city, at least care enough about the staff that do the work, the folks that get to vote on such an ordinance. I have received no response from the city manager on the cancellation of trash services. I am not satisfied with services and should not be held hostage by the city of Espanola. Please answer on the cancellation of services. I have still not received a response on who gave the authority to remove the residents of the Santa Clara apartments. Why was the city even there? It was the landlord's responsibility to evict tenants legally. Again, under whose authority were city representatives working that day? I would really like to know how the city of Espanola staff has acquired the authority to remove rent-paying tenants. No matter how many junkies you have cleared that day, it in no way justifies leaving a mother and a child living in their car. Lastly, what does a resident of the city have to get answers and the courtesy of a professional reply from the governing body? The city manager and the clerk's office. I didn't inherit my home. I didn't inherit my job. I paid for my own education. Everything I have worked my entire adult life toward is my home here in the city of Espanola. I won't stop being persistent, even if it takes 3 years to be heard. And that pretty much was the end. To be heard to my fellow community members, I quote Alice Walker, the most common way people give up their power is by thinking they don't have any. Don't give up, I won't. Next for public comment up is Bethany Bradley.
I'm Bethany. So I had a few things. One, again, I was at Walmart and somebody was selling 6-week-old Shih Tzus, quote unquote, out of the back end of their truck in 30-degree weather. Lovely. We all know what a 6-week-old Shih Tzu looks like. This. That's disgusting. I want to know from Peggy Sue what happened to the animal laws that you were working on, and does that also include the sale of puppies under the 8 weeks of age, which technically should never be pulled away from their parents? Cats on Facebook, things such as that. I also want to know, because I brought it up numerous times, I brought it up to your lawyer also. I currently have a lawyer friend of mine listening in here about your prayer that you guys like to call an invocation. Now, me and a few others, who one is currently actually just got out of the hospital after major surgery. The other one wasn't able to make it tonight, but we wanted to know why we're being ignored when we mention that. Technically, it is a prayer. And I know I brought it up to John before he even became mayor, and I got a head nod at one time about how it seems that religion is being tied into government. Last time I checked separation between church and state. My other question is, I'm a little confused at how somebody could pretty much run the city along with the electricity. I understand that it was inherited, a co-op for premise, and then also mayor and governing all of our utilities now here in Espanola. That's kind of a contradiction, but I especially want to know what happened. Months ago, we were supposed to get these laws that you were working on for animal rights. I'm just wondering where they're at.
Next one would be, excuse me if I get this wrong, Epifan Hernandez. Efrain.
Greetings. Good afternoon, Mayor, honorable councilors, fire department, chief, folks, public. My name is Efrain Hernandez, box 1736, Espanola, New Mexico. First, I would like to acknowledge that today is Lisa, my wife's, and my anniversary. She's at home. Wedding anniversary, 18th. I come before you today to communicate some of the work that Torworks Ministries has been doing or continuing to do in the development of our community. We have partnered with Crystal Sanchez at Help New Mexico, Lupe Salazar at Barrios Unidos, since we are all working for and supporting the same demographics. We are in the process of connecting to and applying for the Food Depot's nonprofit supply program, whereby we will be able to receive hygienic supplies and food to offer the community. I have joined the homeless task force and the housing task force in the hopes of becoming more effective in my efforts to develop a feasible tiny house program in our area and other areas throughout the state where homelessness has become an epidemic. We have reached out to city and county officials in Albuquerque to enlist guidance and support, since they have successfully built a tiny house village in Bernalillo County. I have since connected with Albuquerque City Councilor Walter Benson, previous County Commissioner Debbie O'Malley, who led the team that got Tiny House Village there built and its program passed. I reached out to Pamela Acosta, who is the Tiny House Villages Program Senior Manager. I would like to extend kudos to Councilor Benavides for her diligent work in getting Santa Clara apartment residents housed. I'm not even sure if these folks are part of your constituency, but thank you for your tireless work. I'd like to thank the Lord for my wife and the mother of my children, Lisa Hernandez. Maybe she's at home listening, maybe not. This virtuous and beautiful lady that God has given me, I would not be able to do anything I'm working to accomplish in this community without her. Lisa, happy anniversary. I love you. And may the God of heaven and earth bless you. Thank you.
Happy anniversary.
Thank you. Happy anniversary. Thank you. Thank you.
Lastly would be Stephen.
Okay, before you start the timers, minutes, or does it mention how many minutes you have for public speaking? You started reading, we weren't acknowledged of how many minutes you got all of a sudden inject in a 3-minute process that wasn't informed to the public.
Standing policy.
It's a policy, but it's not published, there was a published out to the public.
What's your last name, sir?
It doesn't matter what my last name is. First of all, I'm gonna exercise my First Amendment, my Fourth Amendment, my Fifth Amendment, my Seventh Amendment, my Eighth Amendment, and the 14th Amendment of the Constitution of the United States. I'm putting you all on notice that I'm exercising my rights. If my rights are being violated tonight in this council meeting, we'll take the city of Espanol to court. I just won an $80,000 lawsuit in Leon Valley, Texas. That's why I haven't been here. First and foremost, you guys are pointing fingers, whoever you want to point fingers at, to the Santa Clara apartments. It wasn't our fault. According to John Ramon Vigil and the statement of the New Mexico newspaper, we did not kick out the tenants. The city manager stated on the Albuquerque Journal that he did get kicked out the tenants from there. The chief of police has no authority to criminal trespass people off private property. That's not how criminal trespass works. Okay, I'll put every single one of you on notices. People talk, walls have ears. You want to hook up illegal utilities with certain realty groups, such as Maze. You know what I'm talking about, John. You're gonna get everything fluxed around. It's gonna be out on the open, brother. It's gonna be out in the open. Okay. For you too, you want to put your name on a paper and I'll take the blame for it. Don't worry about it. I'll take the blame. That's gonna be up there. So now, from here on out, all you guys, all you except for her, I know Dennis, I know Aaron. I don't come to these meetings to fucking bring up rip shots.
Excuse me, sir, don't use that language.
That's covered under the First Amendment of the Constitution. That's free speech.
You're not gonna disrespect the public here.
I could, that's free
You're
speech.
not, you're gonna
It's not free speech
disrespect
or not.
all professionals.
Is that, ask your attorney before you get into the debate.
Respect. This is
You're cutting my minutes, you're getting into my minutes. Ask your attorney before you get into a lawsuit. Before I sue the city of Espanol, you better get with it. You gotta interrupt me. I want my 15 seconds back out of your adjourned. Okay? I can talk however I want in the city council meeting. You might have favoritism, that little publicity stuff that you put on the Rio Grande Sun, that you want to get revolving on the revolving door because everybody's attacking you because of what you did with the Santa Clara apartments. That's good. That's a good PR stuff. I know what you're doing. I know what you've done. I know where you're coming from. I know who your family is. And for you to come from such a great family to coming like that, I know you since I was yay high, buddy. I know you since I was yay high. For you being in here, with all this corruption, man. I find corruption in different states. That's how I know it's going to be. Is by that. Give me 15 seconds more. So other than this, I can say, fuck you, city manager, fuck you, Justin, fuck you, John, you, Denise, fuck you, thank you, Sue. Okay, that is my right. I have every single right to do that. So if you want to open up for a lawsuit, let me know, sir, because I'm willing to go to work and I have attorney on retainer.
That's it.
Thank you. Thank you for all this idea for public comment this evening. Moving on, councilor comments.
I'll start, Matt.
Mayor Pro Tem Peggy Suzanne.
First and foremost, happy new year to all my counterparts and to members of this governing body. Also to the staff that work so diligently to do the work for the people of Española. Want to start by saying I attended a
E911 meeting this morning. We have a new chairman. His name is Matt Casaldos. He is a member of the trauma area, and he is our new chairman for 911. Matt Gallegos, I'm sorry. Okay, thank you. Yeah, Matt Gallegos is a new chairman for E911. As you know, Ernestine Bustos is no longer with the county, so we needed to fulfill her seat. Christine Bustos, I'm sorry. And so that happened this morning. Also want to recognize the police department, the fire department for their efforts in the shop with a cop situation. More than $10,000 is spent on needy children from this community. We have collaboration from a lot of different agencies. Okiawinge, Santa Clara Police Department, New Mexico State Police, New Mexico Probation and Parole, the fire department from our area, our police department, of course. And all of these agencies got together with these kids and drove the baskets around Espanola and got them loaded up to spend $100 each. It was really beautiful. I also want to thank Joanne and her husband. You guys are amazing. I mean, everywhere we turn, there you are to help the needy of our community. The lowrider community has always worked well with the programs that we bring, whether it's a backpack program or whether it's the Shop with a Cop initiative. It's amazing what was able to get accomplished in a few hours. I mean, it was controlled chaos, but it was really awesome to see some of these kids get blessed and to have the opportunity to spend money like that they probably have never had an opportunity to do. So, you know, my hat's off completely to the department, to everybody that helped from the police department, everybody that participated from the fire department. You guys are amazing also. So just thank you for the work that you continue to do in our community, and we continue to push forward. Concerning what we just heard, as an elected official, you know, that nobody has ever spoken to me like that in my life. I want you to know that.
You should
No,
treat
but-
people, you should treat people.
Yeah.
Point of sale, dollars.
Well, Chief, you don't know me and don't ever disrespect me again. Do you understand it or not, Chief?
Point of order,
You gotta do that. You gotta do that. I can protest all I want. I can protest all I
Just
want.
outside.
You wanna threaten me, you can threaten me, bro.
Counselor.
This is, I
What is
can
threatening
protest. I can peacefully protest if I want to.
Sir.
Without due respect, it's not probably the disturbing. It's not disorderly conduct.
I'm giving you warning. I'm asking you.
I'm not gonna exit, it's covered under my first amendment. Okay. I'll file one.
Right now.
I'll file one. This one, kind of, come on, attorney consider, you want to, let me, sir, what am I gonna be arrested for?
Sir,
Say,
at this point in time, sir, it doesn't allow me disorderly conduct.
should acknowledge me.
I'm doing one.
Motion to recess.
Motion for 5 minutes.
I'm telling you, nice and hard.
I'm slowly protesting.
Stop the broadcast.
I got no person here. He said, "I won't copy it."
Is it the little bird? No, I'm This day.
It's just a, I'm gonna threaten you for next time I don't leave. You acknowledge that I gave you a verbal warning. I just need to acknowledge that.
No, I don't know.
It's unresting.
I'm not going to do I'm not resisting. I'm not resisting. I'm not resisting.
I will write it down.
Not resisting.
Stop moving.
I have my shoulder. My shoulder. I'm sorry, sir, my shoulder.
I'm putting consent to count on you.
Yeah, sorry, don't twist my finger.
This is the best I could do, man.
That's awesome.
So I gave you a verbal. You have the opportunity to read this.
And that's right there.
I personally will write it.
No, that's his.
You could come.
Can you provide this?
So sorry.
Let's reconvene everyone.
I don't.
Turn it back on. I don't get.
Let me know when we're ready. Are we ready?
I know you know how to do that.
Good evening, everyone. We're gonna reconvene this meeting at 6:29. I'm gonna save my comments for comments from the mayor at this point, but that type of behavior was not tolerated, such and will not be tolerated for the quorum of this room. I'm gonna let councilors finish their comments. Mayor Pro Tem, you were before you interrupted.
You know, as an elected official, there's a certain amount of scrutiny that is always gonna happen. And we expect that kind of scrutiny. In fact, we welcome it. You know, one of the best things for me is that when I hear a complaint about something that happens in the city, and I'm able to have a conversation and a dialogue with somebody, it helps me to understand where they're coming from, and it also helps me to solve a problem that probably I couldn't have solved had I not had that dialogue with them. So it's important that we all keep an open mind about how important it is to have dialogue, but at the same time, there's no need for threats of any kind, or people to use language like that towards me. I don't appreciate it. I don't like it. And I'm never gonna get used to that, no matter how long it takes. I will never get used to somebody speaking to me in those terms. You know, like I said, I do believe that it's important that we listen to people and we hear their complaints. But at the same time, I think that there has to maintain some type of respect and decorum so that we can get through this. Concerning Bethany's concerns with the animal ordinances, that is a work in progress. We are meeting on a regular basis to go over those. We're on the last two sections of it, which is section 8 and section 9. As soon as we're finished with the draft copies, they'll go to legal, and at that point, I will be sending them out as a draft copy to every governing body member so that people have an opportunity to add or delete whatever you think you like or don't like or whatever. Realize that the animal ordinances are antiquated in our community. There's something that desperately needed to be revamped. It's really not a council's job go through that and to do that, but I've done my best to step up and to do what needed to be done, because I feel that they are so antiquated that they do need a lot of help, and I feel like it's important to get it done. So I spent hours and hours and hours on this initiative. It's not quite finished, but hopeful that this governing body will get a chance to review it, as the public will also have a chance to add or delete, at that point, whatever there is that needs to be added or deleted. So these are all projects that are ongoing continually in the community. I'm gonna yield to my fellow councilors, but I want public to understand that this community has moved forward in big ways, under this administration and through this governing body. A lot of projects have happened and a lot of projects are on the horizon, more than I have ever seen in the 12 years I've sat on the seat. You know, the police department is getting moved to the other side of town, which is very necessary. A new fire department is on the way. We're looking at, in the future, a fire department training center for the whole northern part of Rio Arriba and for the city of Espanola. What that does for the city of Espanola is that it creates an opportunity for volunteer fire departments to be completely certified in all aspects of firefighting. Why is that important to the city? The reason this is so critical to the city is because it helps our fire department because of the mutual aid that all these departments are providing to the city of Espanola whenever we have a fire. If everybody is certified and everybody has had the same training, then everybody knows what everybody else is doing without a hitch. So it's very critical that we look to creating this training center for this whole community and for the northern part of the state. You know, I'll give city manager all the kudos in the world for the things that you've done while you've sat. I was not a believer when you came on board. I had doubts, but I have to tell you that the things that you've been able to pull off while you've been here have been amazing, and I'm in full awe of your ethics and what you've been able to accomplish. When people sit here and complain and everything else, I wish that people had an opportunity to work with you and know the things that you're doing for this community. And I wish that they would turn that complaint into something positive, utilize that energy to make this community a better place, utilize your energy to volunteer in some way, shape or form to help a student or to help somebody in this community that so many people need help. The trash situation has worked out amazingly well. Kudos to the staff that is dealing with picking up our people's trash. It's just been amazing to see the gratitude that people have shown for the simple task of having the trash picked up that most of us take for granted on a weekly basis. My neighbors and myself are just like thrilled to death. They don't even know what to do for these trash guys. They're like, do they need water? Do they need a Coke? Do they need a snack? What do they need? It's just amazing the gratitude that people have for the job that these people are doing for this community. And I'll say this, that I am proud to work with each and every one of you. I don't agree with all of you at some times, but I have to say that at the end of the day, I'll stand with every one of you any day.
Councilor Manny Martinez.
Thank you. Can everybody hear me okay?
A little bit closer maybe to the mic.
How's this? Is this a little better?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. First of all, I just want to first congratulate all the nominees in the youth and children category for the New Mexico Hispano Music Association. That talent show was on the 30th of December, and I just want to congratulate all these children that participated, and I wish them the best of luck. In my view, they're all winners. I personally could not be a judge because they do such a great job. Our youngest contestant this year was 7 years old, and I have to say she was amazing with what she was able to do and with her confidence up there on that stage. And I do encourage more of the youth of the Valley of Espanola Valley to participate next year, start working on him and see what you can do. I urge grandparents and parents to please encourage your children to participate in this type of activity. It's good for them, not just that they get out and sing, but it also helps them with public speaking and being able to get up, because that's not very easy for many people. Second of all, I would just like to announce that right now Northern is going through their registration time. So if you are looking to go to college, now is the time to call Northern Mexico College and get yourself registered for that. A little bit more on what just transpired a little bit earlier. The freedom. That's what I kept hearing. I have freedom, I have rights, I have, the constitutional rights. And um, I am not one to like vulgar language myself, but people do have rights, and we have to take sometimes the bad with the good. I myself, there's a lot of things on TV or things I hear on the radio that I personally don't like, and I just switch the channel, change the channel. I walk away from people if I don't like what they're talking about, or if I don't like what they have to say. That's the freedom that we have, just like people have the freedom to say what they feel. As a governing body, we have the responsibility to listen to people, even when they're speaking in such a manner, because that is our job, to listen to what the criticism of some of our members of our community may have for us. But again, we have to take the good with the bad as well. And that's the same thing to me. Miss Bethany was mentioned about the invocation that we have before our governing body. Well, yes, we do have separation of church and state, but no one is forcing anybody to participate in that invocation. No one is forcing anybody to recite anything or to believe in anything. It's just an invocation that we are requesting, or that we do within the governing body. And I personally will continue an invocation, even if it's in my own mind, because I believe it's important to ask God for us as council members to do the right thing for our communities. Now, my fellow council members, we're not always going to be doing 100% what every single member of our community wants, but we have to do what's best for our community as a whole. And I know that we are on the path to do what's right. And I think that's where we have to stay focused on. But yes, we do have to listen to the bad with the good when it comes to the freedom of this country that we have. Last but least, to settle any of what's been said and what hasn't been said about the Santa Clara apartments, I would like to request a report from the city manager's office about what transpired, that these people were asked to leave that particular day and not given an extended period of time, what the reasons were, who authorized it, and that way this is put to bed and settled right away. So I would request that we all get a report on what transpired that day and who gave those orders. Thank you.
I'm certainly needs to be this.
Thank you, Mayor, so much. I want to first start by saying that I agree that you have to take the good with the bad, but when somebody comes in here and calls each and every one of us by name and thinks that they can disrespect any one of us, that doesn't fly with me. Nobody's gonna come into here, into these chambers and disrespect me or any one of my council members. And no one will come into these chambers and disrespect any members of our police department or our fire department. They are the hardest group of working individuals out there. I would put them up against any other unit in this state. And what I will say about Santa Clara Apartments, we continue to hear nobody's helping these people, nobody's helping these people. And I'll tell you, one thing to forget is that I am part of this governing body and I am helping these people. I'm doing every single thing I can possibly do to assist those people. Today alone, Ephraim is here. And Ephraim is a major critical piece in my books. He goes to the hotels and lets me know who's still there, who still needs help, where we're at, right? And I'll tell you, today alone, we moved Crystal Lynn to Tres Santos in Santa Fe, her and her little boy who are living in their car. She's being well taken care of. We found furniture for her. And I'll tell that gentleman that he needs to educate himself before he ever walks into this room again. Because so many people come in here and they're uneducated as to what's going on in this community. And we are working hard. Like Mayor Pro Tem said, we are working hard. Every single person that is on this governing body. If I needed help and I reached out to somebody, I know they would assist me with whatever I needed. I know they would. There's no doubt in my mind. Today was Crystal's little boy's birthday. He turned 9 today. And I can't tell you what it meant to that little boy to share his room on his birthday with all of us who were there to see him walk into that room. Does he have a place to sleep? Not yet, but we're looking for a bed. Secondly, we got Holly today into a facility in Bernalillo, an apartment complex there. We got Becky into an apartment complex also in Bernalillo.
We have Michelle and Dawn today. They actually found their own place, but we had already found them a place. So we moved on to the next person to find them a place. We have found, gosh, I don't remember all the names, but I'll tell you that with a lot of work and rolling up our sleeves, we have been able to find almost every single one of those individuals a place to live. And every single one of them, I can tell you, has said to me that they had no idea what it was to live in a place like they've gotten today versus where they were at. The concern of this governing body, of our mayor, of our city manager, were the conditions of Santa Clara apartments. The living conditions really were not living conditions. And if you were to take time to speak to these individuals that were living there and you get to know them, you will see how they coexisted because they had no other choice. They thought they had no other choice. Those that are in homes today know they had a choice and they know that they will continue to have one going forward. They are being assisted in finding work, those that do not work. Go on and on with these individuals. So I just wish that people would just ask questions, educate yourselves. I mean, there's so much to get done in this community. This governing body has to prioritize those things. There is more assistance coming our way that we can improve our community if we work together. We have to work together. So, you know, when somebody comes in here that's uneducated, that refuses to see the good of the governing body and the good of this community, he should have stayed in Los Angeles where I think he said he came from. I'm sorry, but you know what? The culture and the valley is one of the most beautiful places ever. I would never move. I would never move. Thank you, Mayor.
Councilor Justin Salazar Flores.
All right, thank you, sir. I guess primeramente, you know, when you sit behind this dais, we all have our own convictions and the decisions we make and, you know, who we answer to, right? And, you know, what we answer to and whether it be a God or whatever you may think it is. I have to answer to my wife and to my little babies. And, you know, at the end of the day, you know, my time's up, I've got somebody else to answer to, and that's my Jesus Christ. But, you know, one day my kids are gonna grow up and, you know, Dad, what is your politics? You know, Google my name or something. Maybe I might come out on Google or not. I'm only a peasant, but, you know, my actions and my decisions will come out and, you know, I have to answer to that. And those are my convictions. And, you know, I appreciate the way everybody makes their decisions behind this dais. That's what makes us a lovely group. And that's democracy, right? And it's just a beautiful thing. And, you know, the mayor asks each and every counselor to do the invocation. And I believe if anybody behind this dais is of any faith, of their chosen faith, they can pray in whatever chosen faith, whatever religion they believe in. And to those that may feel uncomfortable to it, you know, we do welcome obviously public comment. And trust me, I would be more than welcome to receive any blessing from any religion that may be out there. So I just want to throw that out there. The other thing that I have questions on is just follow up on Councilor Manny Martinez. Invite everybody to the NMHMA, the New Mexico Hispano Awards, of this Saturday. I know he talked about the competition for the youth, but we'll get to know on Saturday who's the winner. So that's happening Saturday at the OK Casino. And then I saw some work being done on La Jolla on that fire station already, but my own question was the mural of Renesmee. How was that removed, or is it coming back up? You know, what's going to happen with it?
Sorry, I don't know if I can talk.
Let's say,
Did that.
we'll just put the city manager's report. We'll let the manager. Please.
Other than that, that's it. Thank you.
Councilor Dennis Salazar.
Thank you, Mayor. Going back to the gentleman that was here, freedom of speech is correct. He's able to say a lot of stuff. Any of us is able to say a lot of stuff, but come on, common courtesy, common respect. Common courtesy for one another as human beings, first of all. Second of all, you know, vulgar language to be stated in this council chambers, that's completely uncalled for. Yes, there may be debates, it's absolutely fine, it's healthy, but when it comes to personal put downs, verbal abuse, no, absolutely not. Not for all of us as human beings, the general public, our employees, our mayor, our governing body as a whole. It's completely uncalled for. There's a certain respect coming into this, well, not this council chambers tonight, I guess, which are regular city council chambers. And it should always be like that. And of course, we can get through things just by being able to communicate the best way we can. But when it comes to that point, yeah, that's definitely uncalled for. So I just like to state that. On another note, I would like to welcome our new Northern New Mexico Community College president, Hector Valderas. Welcome him to our community. I know our city and the college has always made great efforts to work together, to work with one another, and I feel strongly that that will continue as well. Another part, just real quick, is in relation to the North Central Regional Transit District Board. We have a meeting this coming Friday at 5:00 with the RTD building. But last month in December, we did have a new blue bus logo unveiling. So everybody's going to be seeing the new blue bus logos coming out within this year for the most part. And we continue to help to cover the holes and for those that do need transportation, veterans, elders, disabled, less fortunate, people that do need transportation. So we are willing to work, with any and all agencies best way we can as well. I would also like to send a kudos and a shout out to our former Rio Arriba County Commissioner, Christine Bustos. She was a former board member for the NCRTD. Christine had great contributions to the RTD, and I was glad to work with her in that capacity. Christine will be missed, and I really hope the next commissioner who is appointed is just as involved as Miss Jeannie Bustos for that. I think that's about all I have. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Nanette Rodriguez.
I just like to share the same sentiments as the rest of my colleagues up here on the governing body. I think that we do have the First Amendment right, and we have freedom of speech. It's okay for someone to come up here and use that amendment right. But what's not okay is to be disrupted in a meeting where we're working on issues to better our community. That's not okay. And that is why he was asked to leave this meeting, because he was disrupted. He interrupted Mayor Pro Tem. He pointed at people. That's uncalled for. There are good things happening in this city. And I would like to report on the Community Services Department. We held our committee meeting in December, on December 19th, and talk about hardworking employees. They currently are bringing in a soccer league to Sarah Center. It began on January 8th and will be going through April 2nd. It's an indoor soccer league, and it's held at 6 o'clock at night. And if there's anyone that's interested, they can contact Maria Sandoval, who is the Community Services Supervisor. I'd also like to acknowledge Miss Tini Bustos and the action team for an incredible 26th annual electric light. It was extremely successful, and correct me if I'm wrong, with approximately 40 entries. 42 entries. It was incredible. Thank you for your hard work. And it takes a lot of dedication and organization. So thank you for getting back to our community. It was incredible. I think that's one of the best electric light parades in the state. And I think we have a city manager who agrees now.
Yes.
He was like, what's this big deal about the electric light parade?
I was.
The city of Espanola also had 2 floats in this parade, and I believe that we received second place. I don't know what's happening. Second and third.
Large business.
For large business. So congratulations to all the hard work from our city clerk's office, from our fire department, and from whatever other programs contributed. Wastewater. Lucero Center pool is open. It looks great and our constituents are excited to be back doing the backstroke. So thank you for your hard work on that. Thank you, city manager, for seeing that to fruition. Jeremy Maestas, who is the community services director, also reported that there was a tree replacement on the plaza made available by Judge Madrid. And of course, by city staff and their efforts to remove the tree and replace with a new one, which was lit during the electric light parade. Lucero Center also housed the 2022 general election. They worked really hard to remain open from 7 o'clock in the morning to probably 8, 9 o'clock at night. So thank you to the staff for that. There was a Veterans Day event at the wall. And it was well attended and provided recognition to our veterans. Thank our veterans for everything that they did for all of us. There was a roof replacement at the Mission, and that project has been completed. We've been awarded $150K for Ranchitos Park project. Correct, city manager? Which will include better lighting at Ranchitos and the probability of putting up fencing so that we can try and eliminate or mitigate all of the issues that we have there. Lucero Center also hired a front desk clerk, so that's great, so that staff aren't having to double task. There was a report that there were replacements of the flags throughout the day, which is done every 2 years. And lastly, there will be dance classes on Tuesday nights at Lucero Center taught by Gino Brazil. Come and join. And Jeremy is currently getting quotes for a new sound system on the plaza, which is really needed. So that's just a rundown of the positive things that are being done in this community by the employees that work really hard that deserve that recognition. Thank you.
I want to state, been in public service for over 12 years now. 6 years I've been in elected or appointed office. And I have never witnessed such disrespect, lack of decorum that I witnessed this evening. I can understand freedom of expression, freedom of speech, but I didn't sign up here to get threatened and to get demeaned. And it's very reminiscent of what's going on in Albuquerque, where there's shots at homes of legislators, county commissioners. That behavior is unacceptable. Public officials don't sign up to get threats. We take from the public criticism. We signed up for that, and I understand it. But to come to a public meeting and to see the lack of decorum, and I really want to echo that. Our community is better than what happened this evening. And what I'm unfortunate is it's going to get out and it's going to go viral what happened here this evening. There's no doubt in my mind. That doesn't represent our community. That represents a small fragment of this community that wants to focus on the negative. We are better than this. We are bigger than this. That doesn't represent Espanola. The regular common citizen of Espanola comes in and brings their constituent concern in an appropriate manner, in a polite manner, that we don't have to engage in dialogue where I'm receiving profane language here in the council chambers. I really don't agree with use of profanity in this council chambers. If you know me, I sometimes let them slip. But I'll tell you, if there would have been a young child here, that is completely inappropriate. To come to a council meeting. I can't imagine coming here when I was 6 or 7 and hearing profanity being utilized towards the mayor and the council members. It waters down the purpose that we are leading this community for. And unfortunately, this is a citizen that actually does come from this community. And I hope that we can take from this situation, we focus on the positives that are going on in this community. I want to note that I was really offended with one comment. I'm going to make it very clear. The letter that came out last week to the Rio Grande, to the district attorney's office concerning catch and release. That letter came out on November 14th. That letter came out before the Santa Clara apartment situation on November 22nd. That letter was being worked on with legal since the beginning of the first week of November, even before the public hearing on November 8th. It's extremely shameful to come to a public meeting and to be accused of trying to grandstand on a situation when it even said clearly in the paper that the letter was sent on November 14th. This is an individual that was not educated like Councilor Benavides stated. And we're gonna allow public to come and bring their concerns and issues, but in an appropriate manner where we can receive that dialogue in an appropriate manner where we're not arguing or we're not receiving threats. And I really want us to be above this, and we are better than this. This governing body deserves better than this. This governing body receives concerns from the constituency. They relay them to the clerks and the manager's office on a day in and day out basis. And that's what we're here to do. We're not here to receive disrespect, and we're here to focus on how we can build a better Espanola. We realize Espanola is a diamond in the rough. There's so many resources here that we can utilize and expand upon. I am blessed every day that this is the only place my family knows is home, because I don't know anywhere else. So I have to make it the best it can be. So with that, I want to thank Teeny Bustos and the Downtown Action Team for the positive of the light parade. That is the greatest light parade in the state of New Mexico. That is an accomplishment. That's what we need to highlight, what happened here. We focus on those things. The Shop with a Cop, that was a great article we talked about in the New Mexican, focusing on all the kids. We served 120 kids. We meet our goal. We surpassed our goal. We raised $12,000 to support next parents. That is a testimony to all those people that went to that Frito Pie dinner, the businesses that gave donations. That's the heart, that's the soul of this community, because I believe from day one, this community has compassion, and this community has heart, and it's always been there. And so these are the positives that we're working on. There's a lot of issues, but we don't focus on the negative. We identify how we focus on fixing those issues. We come here daily and we work on those issues. The manager's been working nonstop in the last 6 months. I mean, I think he signed up for more than what he realized. You know, staff works day in and day out here. Police chief, fire chief, city clerk's office, they are constantly, I'm talking to them at least once an hour to every one of them. And that's just a testimony to the hard work that we're doing. We're going to meetings constantly on how we better this community. And so I really do appreciate when we're talking about the great things we are doing, because yes, we're always going to have negative things. We're always going to have problems, but we focus on the positives. And thank you for being here this evening. I apologize for what happened this evening, but I want to move on to a positive note. And I want to recognize this evening, I want to submit for appointment to the council, the appointment of Ms. Christine Teeny Bustos to the Planning Commission. Commissioner Adriana Ortiz submitted her resignation at the early beginning of December. Commissioner Bustos, for those that don't know, and I think everyone on the council knows, former commissioner, forgive me, Bustos, served as the Rio Grande County Commissioner from 2021 to 2022. But I think everyone in Espanola knew her before that as the light parade lady. Teeny has contributed so many countless volunteer hours, whether it be through Downtown Action Team, Vesta Council, Santa Cruz de la Cañada, the parish activities there. I also want to note that she's a former planning commissioner. She served under Mayor Ross Chavez, and she served under Mayor Richard Lucero. And then she was a city employee for many years as well. I believe Ms. Bustos will complement the new commission because of her experience, knowledge. She's a former real estate broker. She's an insurance broker. She's very familiar with the development code of the city of Espanola, which is the same from when she served as a planning commissioner. So she understands the hard work that needs to come into play to revise the code with planning and zoning department. So I'm submitting Ms. Christine Bustos for appointment tonight to serve on the Planning and Zoning Commission to fill the vacancy. Motion made by Councilor Annette Rodriguez, second by Councilor Justin Salazar Flores. Oh, okay. Okay. Any discussion?
Under discussion, yeah.
Under discussion, Mayor Pro Tem Peggy Sue
Thank you.
Martinez.
I just want to thank Christine Gusto for her willingness to always step up to the plate. There's been situations where we've asked her to do other things and you always come through for us and we certainly appreciate that. Your willingness to serve this community and at the rate of just getting off of one responsibility and signing up for another. This tells us the commitment that you have for Espanola, and we really appreciate it. Thank you.
Councilor Denise Penny.
I just want to welcome Tini. I know she's been there before, but I'm excited, Tini, because I know that you'll do what we need to do to get the cut in order so that we can get housing going this spring. We got a lot of things, we got a lot to do, and working together with the County Development Commission. I look forward to it.
No further discussion. Ms. Garcia, would you please call the roll?
Mayor Pro Tem Peggy Sue Martinez.
In favor.
Councilors Dennis Tim Salazar,
Fourth motion.
Justin Salazar Torres,
In favor.
Manuel J Martinez,
In favor, and congratulations there, Ms. Teeny.
Denise D Benavides,
In favor.
Dorothy D Valdez,
For the motion, welcome, Christine.
Aaron J Salazar,
In favor.
Annette D Rodriguez.
For the motion.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Hopefully it won't turn into my baby.
Let's get to this. So big fast cheesecake.
Made a cheesecake, yeah.
Yeah, actually make a really mean pineapple upside down cake. I've had it.
I'll submit my order.
She makes really good scallop potatoes, red scallop potatoes and.
She makes scalloped potatoes, yes. She's in a restaurant. By the way, guys, I do know about planning and zoning. My first degree is in draft
Oh,
and
yes.
pre-engineering, so I do know a little bit about it.
You ready, Luke?
Yes.
Next up, I'd like to recognize a special woman who's been contributing to preservation in this community. I think for everyone that knows me understands that I have a deep appreciation for the history and culture of this valley. There's so much that's been lost in this valley. I met this individual just earlier this year when I had the opportunity to see some of the properties that she's been working on restoring in the historic Santa Cruz Plaza. Our valley is rich with so much culture that there's so much culture here compared to Taos and Santa Fe, and unfortunately, we've lost it. But you go to Santa Cruz Plaza and you're gonna find what's left there. And it's amazing. And I really want to recognize this evening, Ms. Catherine Cata Bennett. This is a certificate of appreciation for her. She has also presented, and it's for everyone to look at, all the facilities that she's been working on. She's turned them into casitas. Historic adobe casitas on the Santa Cruz Plaza. And she's put tender loving care into. Beautiful. I mean, these facilities are probably 200 to 300 years old. And they're right here in this community, they're right here in the city limits. And that's a testament to someone that understands and appreciates our culture. And she understands what it means to come from this valley. And Santa Cruz Plaza has a rich, deep history. When Don Diego de Vargas came and reconquered New Mexico in 1692, his first colony outside of Santa Fe was in Santa Cruz de la Cañada, La Villa Real, in 1695. And the original plaza was built there where Santo Nino Trader Park and that area is right now. And then it was built there with Santa Clara Pueblo. Then the flood happened and then they rebuilt the plaza up on the hill in 1710. That's the history that we're promoting to the tourism that are coming into our community. And Cata is wonderful, wonderful tour guide to showcase and understand and appreciate that. So Thank you so much, Ms. Bennett, and on behalf of the city of Espanola, I'd like to recognize you for the certificate of recognition for your valuable contributions to the Santa Cruz de la Cañada Historic District. Of course you can.
So this really means a lot to me. To be recognized. I'm not a celebrity type. I'm a behind the scenes person. And it was interesting tonight to listen to the negativity. I've had to deal with the city for a long time about different things. I haven't always agreed with what they've said, but many times they were right when I was wrong. And I really see this whole community who have all been so helpful to me. And I think we have a big opportunity here for because of the size of it now, while it's growing, and it is going to grow, what we can do, to bring the possibilities of Espanola and Santa Cruz into a really positive place. And I want to help do that. And the people around here, I'm from Albuquerque. I didn't grow up here, so that's, a learning curve in itself. But they've all educated me about this place. Willie has educated me about the church, and he's an absolute expert on it. And I give tours of the church at least twice a week, and once or twice a week. And I want to see the possibilities for Espanola and Santa Cruz, come about. And I think there's so many positive things that we can do here, and that we can save these old adobes. I think there's a problem with, they get a leak, people moved out, they move into a trailer and watch the adobe melt into the ground. I was just over where they tore one down on 76 the other day to gather some adobes for some of the projects. And the guy said, "You want to buy my property?" And I said, I would have bought it before you tore the adobe down, and I think we need to learn how to value that and how to protect them within our community. And I think there's ways that we can do that. I think people are taxed on them, even if they're not living. I was taxed on a shed up in Chimayo. And I think if they have to pay the taxes, it's better for them it's more likely that they're going to tear it down if they're getting charged for it. So I thank you so much for this award, because it helps me, because it helps me to get this recognition and to get help. And I need help. I need help with gardens. I need help with restoration stuff. I have one more. We're not changing the.
Are you gonna talk about it? Are you gonna talk about each slide?
Yeah, I'd love to jump for a second.
Okay, so whenever you're ready.
I'm ready.
Okay.
So the gray ones are the ones that I bought. And 3 of them were abandoned. They were a mess. We put walls were falling down. We put walls. Go ahead. Are you changing the slide?
Myself.
Oh, okay. So this is I call this the Amadores. This was Isabel Amador's place. And it was abandoned after she died. She was taken to her son's place, and she lived out the rest of her life there. And she was a wonderful person. And this is the outside of that one when I started on. And all of you all are invited over, to see what I'm doing. We can do tours. If you want any of the brochures, I brought extra. That's the inside of the fourplex. That was vacant for years and years. And the Vigas, and the split cedar Vigas I mean, the split sitter Latias and the Vegas put that place at least 150 years old. And this is the Amadores on the inside when we started on it. And we took that top part of that door where the adobe is and framed that so people who don't know what adobe is can see what it looks like. People come and say, oh, it looks like you put cement in between mud bricks, and I'm like, nope, they put mud. And this is Viola Archuleta, and she was Isabel's niece, and she's showing here how the women used to plaster adobe. Okay. This is the inside of that same place with some work going on. This is Eric Calvert from Okalinga. He's an adobe expert, and he's plastering that. The wall fell in here. We placed that beam. There was a door the size of that other door there, and it was completely wet. We let it dry out for a year, and then we started working on it. We worked on it for about a year. Okay. That's Eric again. This is the side of the building at the Hummingbird that fell down. Okay. And on the church here, there were walls all around the church because it was a fortress. And see the little arched walls there? I copied those here. And this is one thing the city made me do. They made me cut the wall shorter than I wanted to, and they were right.
Only been hit once.
What?
Only been hit once.
It's only been hit once. And this is the door in, and we did an old style hinge, which is a hole with a board going into the hole to make the hinge. And that's another inside picture of new. We had to do new everything. Plumbing, electric. We had to put new joists in them. This is now the Hummingbird finished. Okay. And those nichos were behind. We had done so much work and I didn't want to do any more. And I said, no, leave the sheetrock. And the guys who were working on it said, no, let's take it down. They finally, and there were these beautiful old nichos behind them. Okay. This is my daughter Medina stenciling a floor that was too uneven to tile. So, and I did this floor. This is where the gallery, where the coffee house was. And again, the floor was so uneven that I just stenciled it. This is me in the Hummingbird working on hummingbirds.
Love that.
And I made this little large 4-foot hummingbird sculpture in there, and it's there today. So this one is the one across the street. It hasn't been touched yet, but I'm going to work on it soon. I need help with that if I can possibly have some kind of help with it, because it's just so expensive, and every cent I get, I put back in. And we put a new roof on this, but I'm also a member of the neighborhood watch, and the chief of police has been wonderful about that too. And one of the things that one of the guys at the neighborhood watch told me was, he said, that's empty, you need to get it fixed. And so that's the next problem. And I think that's it, isn't it? Thank you so much.
Ms. Bennett, I hope that by recognizing you this evening, we can encourage other community members that have historic adobes in our community to preserve them and follow in that route. There's so many historic adobes I know here on the west side of town that have been lost, and it's unfortunate.
And I think we need to find out what else we can do, and if we can change that tax thing so that they're not taxed on empty buildings. So are you talking about?
Councilor Penny.
Thank you. Yeah, I personally just want to shout out to you about the work that you're doing and the passion that you have for this community to we do these, it's just amazing. You know, the house I live in, the first 2 rooms of my home were built over 100 years ago also. And when I took my home over, it sort of looked like this. And if you walked into it today, you would not know that it was the same home.
Yeah.
So I understand exactly where you're at and the air that you breathe in there. But I also want to recognize Mayor Vigil for recognizing you for one and the important work that you're doing with this initiative. But also, one of the things that we talked about when Don Ramon Vigil decided that he wanted an opportunity to run this community as a mayor, we did talk about trying to protect the adobe structures within Española. Every single time that an adobe structure is thrown down in this town, it's heart-wrenching. It literally kills me. So I really think that this governing body needs to work on moving that and it's forward to protect these structures. These structures are who we are at the gut of who we are. And everything about our culture is in these homes. And I want to make sure that we protect that. So moving forward, I think this is important work that you're doing. I am gonna go see you. I am really, really handy with everything that you're doing there, and I would love to volunteer and help you with it.
Great.
I just think it's amazing what you're doing, and the fact that you're not even from here and you understand this just blows me away. I just think that's amazing, and I love the work that you're doing. So thank you so much.
People here, so many of them just, you know, when I had the little coffee house, they come in and they'd say, Kata, you don't know how historic this place is. And they taught me, I didn't have a clue.
He knows.
Yes.
Definitely, Mr. Tencio knows.
Yes.
You know, I have to tell you that I didn't realize that one person was doing all of this. I passed through there.
Well, it's not just one, I have a lot.
Well, but you're the glue that's keeping this thing going. I passed through here and I think, man, this area has really improved. Oh, and I don't go there often, like I go through there now and then, and I say, wow, that's different, that got painted, that looks nice. So I know that there's somebody moving behind this, I just didn't realize that it was one person. So when I sat down, this was at my desk and I started to read it, and I have to just tell you that it blew me away in the most positive way. So thank you again for everything that you're doing. It's amazing work, and the artistry that is behind it, those hummingbirds are ridiculously beautiful. And everything that you're doing is just awesome. So thank you so much again, and please continue to do what you do.
Thank you, and the other thing I'd like to say is I think Española is no joke. And I think that's really important, you know, for here. We've had a bad reputation, and it's not accurate. I wouldn't live in Albuquerque right now, you know. And you know, I think that's really important that we really get together and decide what the possibilities of Española are. And I'm willing to do anything I can to help you.
I love your spirit. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor, for recognizing.
We have another presentation too from Mr. Willie Atencio, another longtime Santa Cruz resident.
Now that Papa was recognized and people are aware of the work that she is doing at Santa Cruz, I think I thought that it would be a good idea for people to know that we are getting a lot of good cooperation from the city of Española. The church was restored some years ago. We cooperated with the city of Española and the planning department, and we created a historic district. In other words, we want to make sure that whatever work is done in the plaza will complement the plaza and not detract from it. There is just so much history in Santa Cruz. The church, the parish was established in 1695. it says unbelievable to some people that visit Santa Cruz that the parish was established in 1695 and it still exists. The church was built in 1733. The first church was built, the first Santa Cruz church was built on the south side of the Santa Cruz River in the community of Sombrio. And it turned out that the church suffered from moisture damage and it was moved to the present location. The work started in 1733. There is just so much history at Santa Cruz. It's a very it's a very well-known place. People are just astonished that the place. We still have the original adobe walls that were put in place starting in 1733. The interior of the church is plastered with mud, tierra blanca. That allows the walls to breathe. We have the original vigas, we have the original corbels. Now the decking above the vigas has been changed. We have some of the original artwork. It turns out that our Archbishop was in Durango, Mexico. He had responsibility for everything north of Durango. This Archbishop visited the church and he found out that they lacked adornment. So he sent some paintings from Durango, Mexico to Santa Cruz, and these paintings still exist. These are the paintings that the Archbishop of Durango sent to Santa Cruz. There is very little. There is, in a very short time, you can do justice to the history of the Church of Santa Cruz, because there's just so much history. The Sons of the Holy Family came to serve at Santa Cruz in 1920. They have been instrumental in the restoration of this church. I think I can answer a few questions if anybody has any questions. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Atencio. I challenge the governing body if they don't already have the book. I saw you have the book. I purchased mine. Oh, I think you sold it to me at the funeral home.
Yes.
One evening. But I challenge the governing body to purchase the book of, and if you want to elaborate on the book.
The theory that.
The first publication was done under Father Luis Picasso. Some of you may remember Luis Picasso. He's a very sick man right now. But he, in 1983, when the church was 250 years old, we published a book. And that book turned out to be a collector's item. In 2015, we republished that book and we added another 100 pages. Another 100 pages to that publication. We, in 1985, when the parish was 300 years old, we published another book. So we are documenting the history of Santa Cruz as best we can. It turns out that we just have, every time we publish a book, we have too much information. That's just it, there is just so much information and some people. I think it's just incredible that people, the young people are learning about what their ancestors did. I have nothing but praise for the people that built that church because nowadays you cannot build out of adobe. Well, they did it. There are 4 churches that are considered probably the best architecture in New Mexico. One of them is Santa Cruz de la Cañada. The other one is el Santuario de Guadalupe, the Santuario at Chimayo. The third church is the church at Las Trampas, and then the church at Rancho de Paz. People just seem to gravitate to Adobe. I mean, they're very impressed with Adobe. I know that I can't say enough in a few minutes, say enough about the work at Santa Cruz, but I would like to present this book to the council, and we will put it, hopefully put it in the mayor's office, and anybody else can come and see it so they can learn about Santa Cruz. Yeah. This picture of the altar screen. This will be done, will be hopefully for the mayor's office, and he can show it off. This photograph was taken by one of the mayor's cousins, Tomas Vedarte. He is a professional photographer. He has helped us with all the publications we have been working on.
Thank you so much, Mr. Atencio. It's beautiful. I want to note that, you know, I'm not sure about anybody else's ancestry, but my own Councilor Dennis Salazar and Councilor Mayor Pro Tem Felicio Martinez, our roots run deep in Santo Niño, Santa Cruz, to the Atencios as well, who we have a mutual relation as well to you. Our history in this valley is so unique in how we're tied into one another and where the communities we come from. This is the story that we need to be portraying out there because there's so much culture here to share with outlying communities. The Smithsonian should have a field day when they come up here to see the origination of our families. It's up in my office. It's a testament to who we are as a community. So thank you.
If you don't put it up in your office, we'll come and get it.
Oh,
I'll beat you to it.
thank you again. With our recess, we can take pictures of Mr. Bennett and Mr. Atencio. We'll take a 5-minute recess and then we'll just take about 10 minutes.
In our next project,
We're gonna just take one with the governing body. Because we're gonna put it on the social media. Social media. Come on. Oh, yes. Yeah. Come on, Councilor Denise, Aaron, who else is missing?
Everybody,
Government cheese. Hold on, two more.
Stop real quick.
Dennis.
Hold on, Dennis. Dennis, attention. Where'd you go? Happy Mother's Day. Hold on. Hold on.
Okay, everybody, government cheese, government cheese. Okay, hold on one second. One more, camera here. Okay, smile, smile, smile. Thank you.
Anybody that was present, and it's your call, anybody that wants to fill out a victim statement, you're more than happy to fill one out. If not, we're good with that. I know it's your call, it's just something that we do. If you don't have them, and then everyone's saying you were present.
I'll try this out.
Sir, do you want to look it up? Alrighty, everyone, thank you. We're gonna reconvene the meeting at 7:39. We're gonna just go now straight through. Moving on, city manager report.
Yes, Mayor, just we'll hit a couple top things. I sent the email out, we received the $22 million Riverside, so that is totally funded out. We're gonna do a press release. I have a meeting next week with the engineers. When we do the press release, I want to be able to have an anticipated start date, everything else. So hopefully by next week, I'll have information. We'll put a press release out. My target is to have construction started here this year. We have this money, let's get it spent, let's show them that we can spend these large sums of money fast.
What's the timeline for that?
We're gonna go out for RFP, hopefully after next week. We're gonna give the engineers, we get the plans, we'll have the engineers put the RFP out and do the whole bid process. And then it'll hopefully come to y'all in March for approval, and then usually it's about a 30-day staging time between approval and when the contractor actually starts working.
And then to completion?
Probably looking at 12 to 18 months, depending on the weather and availability of materials. The Bureau at fire station, right now they're doing asbestos abatement on the building. And apparently there was asbestos on every surface of that building you could possibly come in contact with, so it had to come down because of asbestos. There is the possibility the Bureau will come back. We talked to the family before we took it down. So since this is ICIP state money, state has our public places that are required. So the assistant chief Winterchamp is working with the artist who did it to become a registered artist with art public places. And at that point in time, by state law, we have to spend 1% of the budget for that project on art in that building. So we can actually pay the artist to put the mural back. So that is what the plan is on that one. Thank you. The mayor told y'all we're gonna be in there for a month. I hate to tell you, it's gonna be more like 6 weeks. So probably the damage in the basement and the water sitting, they've had trouble getting it out because it is a basement. And I don't feel comfortable having the general public in there until we can get an air quality test and make sure that there is nothing floating around, because essentially the captive chambers are right above the basement. And so until that's done, so we're probably looking at the end of February's meeting before we actually move back into the other council chambers. We have hired a finance director. Could have a start date anytime. This gentleman is highly qualified for the job. He has a reputation to going to organizations that have a little bit of trouble, some problems, and fixing them. And so met with him today for a long extended period of time, and we talked about some of my concerns and some of the other concerns I've heard from y'all. And he's excited, gonna get back to this week about a start date, but he's ready to hit the ground running on this and get going. We're bringing back department reports. Those will be at the last meeting of the month because it's usually a shorter agenda. That way, if you all have any questions, we can go through those reports and get the answers for you. And that's about all I have.
Any questions for the manager? Councilor Benavides.
CDBG funding too, we get that funding.
Yes, 750. Yeah, so we're actually, you're gonna see about 4 or 5 RFPs. If anybody asks me what they all are, I can't name them off the top of my head. But we're gonna have about 4 or 5 RFPs go out in the next couple of weeks.
That 750 is going to be spent on what?
Just as a clarification, what happened with the money was awarded 4 or 5 years ago, and then it was pulled back and it was sat on, so we just pretty much got it back.
It was pulled back because it wasn't ready to go out to get the money.
Right.
And so we couldn't get the task done in time to spend the money, so we had to revert it, and so we got it back this year.
Okay, again, I'm gonna recognize you, Mr. Yati, you're doing an amazing job. Thank you so much for the work that you do for this community. I really believe that we are in such a good place with you at the helm.
Thank you.
So thank you.
I guess one other quick note, we are actually in our process of getting our permit to open our collection center back up.
Say that you should have.
We're gonna reopen up where the transportation was on Industrial Park Road. It'll be a collection center. It will not be open to the public. But by opening this back up, we are essentially independent from North Central. They cannot kick us out for a day. They can't sit there and say they're full, they're closed. Hopefully, our permit will be on our hands tomorrow. If our permit's on our hands tomorrow, starting Monday, we will start utilizing that facility.
And we're also exploring long-term purposes for sanitation.
Yes, we're looking at possible landfill sites on city-owned property. If we can't do a landfill, the city will actually move the collection center from up there to another location and build a true transfer facility. But until we get an answer on the landfill, we will not spend any real money out there.
What's the timeline for commercial?
The commercial right now, we are just waiting on the dumpsters. We're hoping the first Friday. We have our first load of dumpsters should be delivered this week. Well, we should pick them up this week. And then I believe we have like 2 loads after that, but the place that we're having them built is in Berlin. And he's actually able to build 12 today. And so he's really been knocking them out. What slowed him down this past time has been the cold weather because he has to paint them outside. And so that slowed him down, but we have a full 18-wheeler load picked up.
When are the residential bins gonna arrive?
We have them all in. I think we have 1 truckload left. I think it's in El Paso on its way up. What John was telling me, staff, all different departments, and I have to praise our staff. I mean, once again, we've asked them to go above and beyond, and not a complaint, not a no, not anything, just, okay, we'll take care of. They're assembling the carts, which require the wheels to get put on. So hopefully in the next week or 2, we will start delivering those around town.
And they're green.
No, they are dark blue with the city logo on them and the Heart of Northern New Mexico logo on all of them. And each one will have its own independent serial number, and that serial number will actually be tied to the address. So if your card comes missing, all you have to do is call billing and they can send a meter reader out to look for your missing card.
People were asking the color, I'm not sure why.
Yeah, they're dark blue. I will have the picture that put on the artist right here. I'm gonna put on this.
So I have a quick question.
Councilor.
During our committee meeting, they mentioned that we're looking at another leak at La Chico's Pool possibly. Where are we with that?
I have not heard anything on that. So I don't know if the leak doesn't exist, but I have not heard anything on the leak.
Can you
I will check
follow up
it.
with that?
Yeah, I'll check it.
Thank you, Mr. Yatsu, for all the hard work that you're doing for the city. Thank you. Moving on, items proposed for council consideration, discussion items, action items, breast cancer fundraiser and the recipients, Mr. Zach Logston, local IF. For 339 president.
Thanks, sir.
Honorable Mayor, members of the governing body, thanks for the time, for sitting in here with you as well. My name is Zach Logston. I'm a lieutenant with the City of Espanola Fire Department, as well as the president of the local 4339 Professional Firefighters Union. I'm before you today, just to give you an update on what we've done with our breast cancer t-shirts. So everybody knows in October, we go and sell to the local businesses, public. We sell the t-shirts, and all the profits that we get go back to people in the area in the valley that are struggling with breast cancer or other types of cancer as well. So this year we did pretty good. We sold over 400 t-shirts, just in the valley here. So after paying the artist, who is the same artist that did the mural, Toby Morphine, he did the art for the t-shirt the last couple of years. So after paying him the artist fee and then buying the t-shirts, we were able to give 4 individuals $1,200 to help with their transport or with their bills or whatever it may be. So we're pretty proud that we were able to get 4 individuals that $1,200. So we're going to go ahead and recognize them. Unfortunately, none of them were able to make it. I spoke with a couple of them. Some of them are pretty sick and are not able to make it here. Others are going through chemo, and they're having a hard time. So the first individual is Maria Lopez. The second is Darlene Velasquez. The next is Evelyn B. Hill, and the fourth is Rodney Dominguez. So, like I said, all 4 of those individuals are struggling and fighting the battle against cancer. So, yeah, and some of these people we know, one of our guys knows them from church, or another one is a friend of a friend. Evelyn is just the lady we were selling the t-shirts, and her daughter actually wanted to buy a t-shirt and said, yeah, my mom's going through breast cancer, I'll definitely buy one. So I'm like, hey, give me your information. And so she ended up being one of the individuals that we gave to. So I'd like to thank the public for sure. They're the ones that drive this thing. They're the ones that support buy the t-shirts. Council, you guys, I know most of you guys have spent money and bought t-shirts. Yeah, Mr. Mayor, you bought one. The CM, appreciate that. And the local businesses, they really show up for this. They buy, t-shirts for their whole staff to wear all month. So they contribute a lot. And also they're the ones that let us at times be at their establishments, accosting their patrons, which we appreciate. So again, next year, we're gonna be doing the same thing. We're gonna try to get the t-shirts earlier in September and sell them all through the month of October, and hopefully have a banner here. So all that money, like I said, so all the profits went to those 4. We also had a softball tournament where teams had to pay in to be in the softball tournament. So we do use that money as well to donate. Talking about the Shop with a Cop and firefighter, we donated $800 to that, as well as $200 towards the Frito pie, that meal. So with that being said, yeah, special thanks to the union members who helped out selling those t-shirts. It might sound easy selling t-shirts, it's not a walk in the park, you gotta kind of do some legwork. And for I think the 11th year in a row, Assistant Chief Winter Champ sold the most shirts. So he's the top salesman. So thanks to him and Chief Johnny, appreciate it. He was getting a hold of some of the people that were the recipients, and also letting me know people that need shirts, so we're running around. So thanks to you, Chief, appreciate that. And also I just want to bring up another thing, the Northern New Mexico Regional Art Center, right around Christmas, they donated about 10, maybe 20 quotes to us and the fire department to go around and hand out to like people that were in need, stuff like that. So I want to give them a shout out. And, we really appreciated those, and we were able to give all those away. So that's all I have. Goodness, good. Yeah, thank you guys. Appreciate the time. That's all I got.
Thank you, Zach, and the firefighter union for all you do for our community. Well, in resolution 2023-1, a budget resolution, a preventive adjustment resolution, increasing revenues and expenditures in the amount of $150,000 to establish public authority for regional long-term service department to purchase and equip vehicles for the Beatrice V.Q. Martinez Senior Center. Ms. Diane Hopkins, grants manager.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor, members of the governing body. And for this meeting, respectfully request approval of resolution 2023-01. This award is from Aging and Long-Term Services, and it will provide $150,000 for purchase and equipment. So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Mayor Pro Tem Peggy Sue Martinez, second by Councilor Justin Salazar Torres. Any discussion?
I just want to say before we go, so A, B, C, D, and well, through D, these are all grant funds, and so it's not affecting our budget. It's not coming from general fund. This is y'all accepting the money so we can modify the budget so that they can spend the money, the grant money.
No discussion, Ms. Garcia, would you please call the roll?
Mayor Pro Tem Peggy Sue Martinez,
Absolutely in favor.
councilors Dennis Tim Salazar,
For the motion.
Justin Salazar Torres,
In favor.
Manuel J. Martinez,
In favor.
Denise D. Benavides,
In favor.
Dorothy D. Valdez,
For the motion.
Aaron J. Salazar, Nanette D. Rodriguez.
For the motion.
Motion carries.
Alrighty, folks, thank you. Congratulations to the senior center. Resolution 23-2, a budget adjustment resolution increasing revenues and expenditures in the amount of $281,250 to establish budget authority for state of New Mexico award to support law enforcement and House Bill 18, presented by Diane Hopkins, grants manager, and I believe Chief Garcia as well.
Honorable Mayor, members of the governing body. Again, this is a request to approve resolution 2023-02. And this will establish budget authority for the $281,250 award that was given to the Espanola Police Department to use over the next few years.
Open to approve.
The motion made by Councilor Joseph Salazar, second by Councilor James Salazar. Any discussion?
Under discussion, I want to recognize Chief Garcia for going after this money that became available. I think it's really important for us to be seeking as much grant money as possible for the community. And I appreciate the efforts that he had at making this money come to this direction. So thank you.
Here. No further discussion. Ms. Garcia, please call the roll.
Mayor Pro Tem Peggy Sue Martinez,
In favor.
councilors Dennis Tim Salazar,
For the motion.
Justin Salazar Torres,
In favor.
Manuel J. Martinez,
In favor.
Denise D.
In
Benavides,
favor.
Dorothy D. Valdez,
For the motion.
Aaron J. Salazar,
In favor.
Nanette D. Rodriguez. Motion carries.
Thank you. Resolution 2023-3, a budget adjustment resolution increasing revenues and expenditures in the amount of $118,000 to establish budget authority for the state fire marshal grant award to purchase bunker gear for Espanola Fire Department, presented by Diane Hopkins, grants manager, Fire Chief John Martinez.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor, members of the governing body. Again, I'm requesting approval of budget adjustment 2023-03 to establish budget authority for this $118,000 so that fire department can buy their much long overdue and necessary bunker gear.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Councilor Dennis Tim Salazar, second by Councilor Aaron Salazar. Any discussion?
Under discussion, Mayor, I'd like to recognize Chief and Assistant Chief for their efforts in making sure that the staff have the equipment that they need. Anytime there's an opportunity for any monies to come and just know that they too are hustling these monies, and we really appreciate your efforts and thank you.
Your discussion, Ms. Garcia, would you please call the roll?
Mayor Pro Tem Peggy Sue Martinez,
In favor.
councilors Dennis Tim Salazar,
For the motion.
Justin Salazar Torres,
In favor.
Manuel J. Martinez,
In favor.
Denise D. Benavides,
In favor.
Dorothy D. Valdez,
For the motion.
Aaron J. Salazar,
In favor.
Nanette D. Rodriguez.
By the motion.
Motion carries.
Resolution 2023-4, a budget adjustment resolution increasing revenues and expenditures in the amount of $500,000 to establish budget authority for the capital projects infrastructure, presented by Diane Hopkins, grants manager.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor, members of the governing body. This budget adjustment resolution is to increase the revenues and expenditures in our infrastructure project funds so that we can continue the design of the Riverside Drive, water and wastewater.
So then we're looking at about $323,000. I wanted to start that process. So the main line is designed. We wanted to add laterals into the project. It was budgeted part of the 22 million. So 323,000 will be given back to the city when we get the grant money. The other 150,000, we got hit with a stack of change orders from Coronado Street. I have a meeting Wednesday to discuss this with the contractor. I do not believe that these are valid change orders, so I don't want to pay them unless they can show me they're valid. So a change order is required to go from the contractor to the engineer, signed off on the engineer sends them to the owner. These change orders have no city signature on them, no engineer signature on them. Because a change order is the contractor telling the engineer their plans were wrong, their quantities were wrong. If it's a big enough mistake, the engineer's errors and omissions insurance actually covers the cost. This was never done in this case, but just by chance, they have paperwork hidden somewhere that's signed off by everybody. We're getting this included in this, so we can go ahead and pay and get that project closed out.
And where is this money coming from?
It's coming from the reserves leftover cash from last year in those departments.
But the
The 2023 will come out of the 22 million.
and possible that the 150.
The 150 possible will have, and if they had leftover revenue from last year, that was not spent as part of their budget, and so that's coming out of that.
Okay.
Motion to approve.
Motion made by Mayor Pro Tem Peggy Sue Martinez. Second by Councilor Nanette Rodriguez. Any discussion?
Under discussion, when you talk about lateral, Mr. Yotzi, you're talking about providing for every entity along that road.
Yeah,
correct?
so on a sewer system, you have the main trunk line that runs to the sewer plant, and then there's laterals that come off. Those laterals go into the neighborhoods, go into the businesses, and then their service lines tap into the laterals. And so this will be replacing those and hooking back up a new tap for them.
That includes all the saddle, everything that's
Yes,
necessary.
yes,
So the cost to the business, the cost to the person is nothing.
unless their service line is completely crushed at that point in time, it is their private property, they will have to get it replaced, but most of them are not crushed, most of them are not a problem, but there will be no additional cost given to the property owner.
Thank you, sir.
Any discussion further?
Just really quick, so
Councilor Benavides.
the 325 is just to get us a head start on the project?
It's to get engineering, so we have the main part of the project engineered, the laterals need to be engineered. So we're gonna switch this project to almost like a design build kind of. We're going to bid out the main section of it, and then by the time they get started on that, we'll have the rest of it ready to bid out.
Okay, I'm just concerned because we've never hit reserves that I know of.
This is just because we could wait for the 323, essentially, we could wait, but that's gonna put us about 3 months behind the ball, and so it's gonna delay it longer. And then I honestly do not feel we owe the 150, but just in case it's there.
We'll get a report back on.
Yes, I have the meeting, I believe, set up tomorrow then.
Any further discussion?
So then if we don't need the 150, what are we gonna do with it?
It will sit there for in case an emergency comes up, or we roll into another project. Or it can go back into the reserve funds, it's up to y'all.
Thank you.
Councilor Dennis Timpson, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. Actually, I was kind of thinking along the lines of Councilor Salazar Torres, but also I would like to thank Dan Hawkins just for all your guidance to our staff regarding grants, the process, step by steps to follow, the management of the grants, and then of course keeping track and reporting through DFA and so on. So it's like a lot of process through the various grants. So thank you for your hard work, man.
Of course, I find that's not too bad.
Saving grace.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Ms. Garcia, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Peggy Sue Martinez,
In favor?
the councilors Dennis Kim Salazar,
For the motion.
Justin Salazar Torres,
I have a little reserves of that 150, but in favor.
Daniel J. Martinez,
In favor.
Denise D. Benavides,
Like you have heartburn kicking anybody out of reserves, but as long as it gets put back.
Dorothy D. Valdez,
For the motion.
Aaron J. Salazar,
In favor?
Nanette D. Rodriguez.
For the motion.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Discussing approving a water lease easement between the city of Espanol and the Bartolome Sanchez land grant, Mr. Jordan Yancy.
Yes, Mayor, this agreement was sent off to J. Dim, our water rights attorneys and water rights experts. This agreement falls in line with all the other state easements that you've seen. The original one was a 50-year one. The land grant asked for not another 50-year one because essentially the city locked them in at 50 years without a price increase. And so this year, every 5 years, we can reevaluate the price and move forward with that.
So did the agreement get updated? Because what I signed the packet was like 2023.
They originally gave it to us at the end of 2023, so we'll have to change the date on it, but they gave it to us at the end of 2023.
About that, I was like, oh, it's late, and it's.
This is way overdue. The land grant wanted it done a long time ago. And
Yeah, our actual original agreement was expired about a year ago.
Motion to approve.
Right. Mayor Pro Tem Hazy Martinez, second by Councilor Justice Alvarado, discussion. I just want to echo, I'm really excited about this, the land grant, other than the tribes, they own the most land. Pretty much in town, the Bartolome Sanchez land grant, it's important that we work with them. We're trying to repair relations, they've been very burned by the city in the past, so we're trying to get them on board to see if they're interested in doing land swaps. Or even entertaining the possibility of getting commercial opportunities on their properties. And so we look forward to working with them going forward. Ms. Garcia, would you please call the roll?
Mayor Pro Tem Peggy Sue Martinez.
In favor?
Councilors Dennis Tim Salazar,
For the motion.
Justin Salazar Torres,
In favor.
Manuel J. Martinez,
In favor?
Denise D. Benavides,
In favor.
Dorothy D. Valdez,
For the motion.
Aaron J. Salazar,
In favor.
Nanette D. Rodriguez.
For the motion.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Moving on, we're gonna have the second reading of ordinance 22-6 regarding sanitation, Mr. Jordan Yancy.
Yes, Mayor, this is the second reading, on the advice of the attorney. We are asking that before y'all vote, that y'all remove Article 2, Section 282-7. It is not needed according to the city attorney in this ordinance. So we're asking that that be removed, but essentially, if you go online and look at the sanitation ordinance that was done in 1996, this is pretty much it with just some updated terms.
Motion to approve as amended.
No, this isn't an action item, it would be the next. Is there any other discussion regarding this? This is more a discussion item and we go into a possible approval, or we could just already move into that.
I would just move into.
Okay, so then I want to.
Motion to approve as amended.
No, so I'm going to open up now. We're gonna go into discussion, possible approval of sanitation ordinance 22-6. Ordinance number 22-6, an ordinance amending chapter 282 solid waste of the Espanol Municipal Code and repealing all of their ordinances pertaining to solid waste, garbage, trash, and refuse. The time is 8:05. That was loud. I'm gonna open it up for public comment, public hearing. You're welcome to come up. You need to address the name, your physical address, your entire legal name.
Hi, Bethany J. Bradley. I'm at 1106 Riverside Drive, trailer number 11. I did want to address one thing that you have in here. I actually have a diabetic husband, as people know. And I also am a vet tech, and so I deal with sharks daily. I would like you to know that what you have in here as far as used sharps, including hypodermic needles, syringes, things such as that. We have actually reached out to find out, because pharmacies have no longer accept used needles, even if in the containers. We found out there's actually, which I just sent to you, and it says sharps here in New Mexico. You put used sharps in strong plastic container, have a needle clipper. When the needle clipper is full, it can be disposed of according to state regulations. which means you can not put it in recycling, but it has to be in a red sharps container marked sharps. And it has to be duct taped around to prevent it from opening. It can be thrown into your regular trash as long as it's in a bag and it's properly sealed. So that actually needs to be fixed. Just so you know, because this is actually, we've looked into it and multiple times because we weren't sure what to do with all of them. But yes, so just so you know that that is actually the state law.
We are actually not licensed to take, that's considered a biomedical waste, neither us nor North Central is licensed through NMED to take any type of biomedical waste. In fact, if a needle is found on North Central's tipping floor, they're required to shut down and remove the item. It cannot go into the transfer trailer to Rio Rancho under NMED rules and regulations.
Even if it's in a sharps container.
If it's in a
and
sharp
sealed?
container, what this is referring to is just placed in the trash can.
Okay, but you might want to add in properly put it in a sharps container, because nowhere in, I went through everything, because I don't want to get fined, because, you know, I have needles and proper disposals. I just want to make sure that I wouldn't get fined by putting mine properly taped up.
If you probably
In a bag.
dispose of them, we're not gonna find them, it's not gonna be in again. There's no way for you to get fined. What they're talking about is,
No, they, as long as legally here in New Mexico, as long as I had it in a proper sharps container
yes,
and sealed completely with tape, I can put it in my regular.
yes, you can, and we would never know it's there because we don't go through the bags. Only time people get fined is if they're loose laying in the trash can, even then, they don't get fined, code enforcement does, it tells them the proper way of disposing.
Okay, in case my garbage bag breaks or anything, I'm just making sure that I'm covered.
You're good.
Thank you.
Anyone else here for public comment for the public hearing for the adoption of ordinance 22-6? I'm gonna give it another 2 minutes. And make sure we document our time and open call on this.
Everybody do that, there's a two and
It's good.
And then it's going through my head while I'm trying to sleep, I think.
Right, I'm gonna close the public hearing, the time is 18.
Motion to adopt this, and I'll yell to Jay for the verbiage. Because I know there's items that need to be removed.
Motion to adopt ordinance 2022-6. An ordinance amending chapter 282 by Mayor Pro Tem Elisa Martinez.
I'll second.
Second by Councilor Justin Salazar Torres. They're under
Two slight revisions to the motion.
okay.
First, as the manager said, section 282-7. I would ask the Mayor Pro Tem to amend the motion to say with the repeal of 282-7. Second, the title of the ordinance notes that all other ordinances pertaining to solid waste, garbage, trash, and refuse are repealed. That's in the title, but it's not in the body. So simply add a section at the end stating that exactly what the title says, all others are repealed. This is replacement.
Motion to amend the previous motion to include the two issues that our attorney has advised.
So clarifying the motion indicates the deletion of Article 282-7, completely delete that. And the insertion that it repeals and replaces all prior ordinances retaining to solid waste in the city of Espanol and Espanol municipal code.
I'm good with that, what you guys said.
Any other discussion? Councilor Justin Salazar.
Thanks, Vernon.
maybe a dumb question, but, and I think I asked city manager here, but. You opened a public hearing, I didn't see it advertised as a public hearing, are we in compliance still?
Yeah, yes, discussion for
Just a
possible approval. Yeah, it's a public hearing, just to let them talk, it's doesn't be public access, usually public hearing is a separate meeting, it's what they're on. Because they have the legal right to speak on behalf of the ordinance. As long as the ordinance has been publicized. Yes, and it has been multiple times.
Several
Okay, just asking, because in our past meetings, we've always had the verbiage public, hearing, but okay, just a question.
Okay, any other discussion? I just want to applaud the manager's office for working on this. This is very groundbreaking, what we've done with solid waste. I think once we get the commercial accounts, I know that calls are still coming in about the commercial because there's this big disconnect. People don't understand who's North Central, they don't understand the city. Once we get the commercial dumpsters, then we'll be able to fully take full responsibility for trash throughout the community. I sympathize with the people in the county, but the city of Espanola is taking all its proactive measures to handle trash for the people of the city of Espanola. The county honestly needs to deal with their situations, and it's unfortunate. But we need to remember our commitment is to the constituency of the city of Espanola, and there's a lot of disconnect. There's people saying trash isn't getting picked up in the county, and they're confused because people in the city are. So make that very clear that as far as we're aware, people in the city had a few hiccups, but for the most part, the people in the city. We're averaging about 2 complaints a week right now. We went from about 15 a day to 2 a week. And usually the complaints, we do research into them because John and his staff are really good about figuring out what the disconnect was. And 99% of the time is they put the trash can out late.
Underage people as well.
Yes, yes, and they're super early.
I wanna say that too, that, you know, I received a lot of positive feedback from what that staff has been able to accomplish. Almost daily, I receive a call concerning that they're doing a tremendous job for this community, and you can tell in the there's not trash bins overloaded all over this community anymore. And I just really want to appreciate that, and that staff know that they are appreciated for the jobs that they're doing. And also know this, that being a trash worker is one of the most dangerous jobs in this community and in any community, and the fact that they're doing it and doing it safely and following rules and taking care of each other is amazing. So thank you guys again for everything you're doing concerning sanitation.
But again, we want to just clarify, the people that we understand are not getting picked up, we're tracking them down, they are not in the city of Espanola. Just clarifying that, and for all the listening audience out there, we sympathize with the county, but the city residents, to our best of our understanding, they are getting picked up. We've had some issues because Espanola is very unique in the city limits. Simmons Lane, El Llano has been a nightmare, but we're working on a plan for that. With no further business to come before this body. Oh, I'm sorry. Ms. Garcia, would you please call it?
Ready for a vote, please, Mayor Pro Tem Felisa Martinez. Councilors Dennis Tim Salazar,
For the motion.
Justin Salazar Torres,
In favor.
Daniel J. Martinez,
In favor?
Denise D. Benavides, Dorothy D. Valdez,
For the motion.
Aaron J. Salazar,
In favor.
Nanette D. Rodriguez. Motion carries.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, no further business before this body, this meeting is adjourned at 8:06.
My son.
Yeah, I'll bring it. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
And he's like,
Yes.
So, you know, I've been, I'm the kind of neighborhood watch. My manager was. He's offering me free rent for my property. And I'm on. It's my property. Which is kind of. It's no, that one guy is no longer working, you know, Richard, he's no longer working. Gave his place and driving. Old guy. Old this on top of shit, and I mean, like.